Will with Gremlin Outdoors. What I have here today is a beaver tail. I think Kale killed this one, and what I use it for is I just make the grip. I just wrap my grip on my bow with it. There's no really functional use for the beaver tail. I just like to use it because it feels good on the handle. It's kind of soft and it looks good. I mean, that's really it. I can also use a little bit of it to put on the shelf where the arrow slides on the bow, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do that with this one or not yet. So I'll decide on that later. But what I'm going to do in this video is show you how I clean it and then tan it so it'll dry out. So I don't know if you can see, but it's got like a dagger looking point going through there, and that's actually the tail of the beaver. All this on the sides of it is just fat. You don't need that. So I'm just gonna run my knife in right there on the side of the tail, come back around, go down, and I'll show you what that looks like. Gets real thin towards the edge here, so you got to be careful. I started to cut up and out, which you probably won't need most of that at the end. I might use this on the end here for the shelf, but just be careful. Okay, so you can see I've got it kind of split open like that. All of that right there is just fat, no muscle or anything in there. So you can see, like, I mean, that's just crazy. The first time I did this, I had no idea their tail was like this, but I can kind of, you see I cut down in there until the little rat tail starts. And I'm gonna keep working around here and finish it up. I know I said to use a really sharp knife. A sharp knife always makes everything easier, but you got to be careful because you can cut through this really easily with it. So just watch. I think you can peel this back if I'm not mistaken. Just like that. So you gotta watch for that. Kind of see it starting to peel up through the other side, so just watch that. All right, so there we go. Got that flap. Fixed to get the other one. It's much easier to peel it back, obviously, but it's real slimy. There we go. Oh. Another benefit to peeling it back, as you can see, it kind of peeled most of that fat out of there with it, and it just kind of peeled it off of the back of the or off of the leather there, because you're gonna have to remove all of this anyway, so you can tell where the tail just kind of ripped all the fat out on that one too. So we'll set these aside. That's what they look like. That's what they look like right now. So you can see that's what the tail looks like. The tails are just right in there. You can see all these tendons. That's a type of sinew. Technically you could back a bow with that, but I don't know, it wouldn't be worth it with this. But that's the tail. That's what powers this whole thing. So next, kind of see how that ripped. It doesn't matter because most of the tail, I mean the grip's going to be in there. It's just going to wrap around. I'm not going to use any of that. But what you have to do now is get all this fat off. So just kind of, this is where it's like filleting a fish. You just cut close to the, you have to get all of it off, or as much as possible. So this is where a sharp knife really comes in handy. But you don't want to cut through the beaver tail and mess up the leather. So that's what it's supposed to look like. There's still a lot of stuff on there. The more you can get off, the better off you'll be. I tried to use some of my cutting boards that we have here, and my wife was like, absolutely not. You're not using my cutting board. So here I am. You see how thick this is on the end? You want to, and like how thin it is on the other end. Ideally, you want the thin end. You want it to be thin on both ends. But if I have to cut any off to make it shorter, I'm gonna cut off this end where it's thicker, just because you want it. The thicker it is, the more beef it's gonna add to your handle, obviously, and it won't be flush. You can see all the difference there. But sometimes you just got to work with what you got. So that's what this one looks like when I get done with that. And I'll do the same thing to this one. So they'll both look like this. And I'll come back to you after I finish this one off and show you what you do. All of this extra little fat stuff has to come off. It doesn't have to, but it really needs to. You need to do it. So I'm gonna get a lot of salt, just, regular kitchen salt, the cheap kind, rather than sea salt, save you some money. But you just pile it up and get a good coating of it on each one. And I'm gonna put it in a crate or something. And I'm gonna put some weights on it because I had some sinew from work, some beef sinew drying out in the back of my truck. Came out the next morning and a cat had jumped back there and eaten all of it. So I'm gonna put a cage or something on top of it to where the air and the wind can get through it and still dry it out and everything. But I'm also gonna, do that preventative measure so that dang cat doesn't get this too. But I'll show you what that looks like. I just have regular Morton salt, and you want to put a generous amount. Like a good bit to cover it up. Last time I did this, I did it at my house, and I'm in Auburn now. But I had it on my porch at the house, and no ants even tried to get to it, and the ants were eating dog food on the back porch. So, I'm not really too worried about the ants trying to get it, even if they did, it's not like they're gonna eat the leather, the part that I'm gonna use. If anything, that'd help me out. But I think this salt kind of keeps them away too. But I don't know. We'll just see. You just need to keep an eye on it, just like everything. Just like I did with that sinew, I kept an eye on it, and that cat got it. What this salt is gonna do is just go dry it out much faster. Draw out that moisture. It's already kind of taking a little bit out, but you'll have to maybe do this one more time. I left it for 3 days, and then I came back and kind of wiped all the salt off the top. That'll come off. I didn't scrub it or anything, but just got it off and put about that much more salt on there, and left it for another day and a half or so. But you really just want it to be dry. I don't think there's really a set time. Just let it dry out. So, got this laundry basket that I'm putting on top of it, like so. Need something like this so the wind can get through there and dry it out. Then I'm gonna put my bow target on there because there's no way that cat will get up under there with that bow target. So I don't think, he can stick his hands in there, but I don't think he can pull it out. So I think we'll be good. But we'll come back in a day or so and see what it looks like. Well, there were ants that got on it. There's a little trail coming from back over in the woods, or not the woods, but the yard there. And I read, or they were eating where the salt wasn't really on it, so just like the very corners. And I didn't want them to fool with it, because I don't really know what they would do to it, or if they could even hurt what I want to use. See, there's a couple of them on there. But they were all over it. And then I sprinkled some cinnamon around here. And apparently they hate cinnamon. And those jokers, they took off. They were gone within 2 minutes. But so there you have it. If you are doing anything like this and you're worried about ants, put some cinnamon around what you're doing, and they'll leave it alone. Okay, so the beaver tails have fully dried out. I really don't know how long it took. I said it'd take about a day, but it took longer than that. I know that. I ended up bringing them inside and putting a fan on them, and that helped a lot. But I would say you're good after a couple days. I mean, you want it to, stiff. That's how you want it to dry out. So that's what it should look like. I'm gonna save this one for my dad's bow, I think, and I'm putting that one on my bow. So that's how you clean a beaver tail for a bow handle. That's the end of this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. Thanks for watching.